you've heard him allegating happened to him versus what truly happened?
Well, when he started the allegations, it was when my mom was in her little rehab thing over the summer. And my mom, Aaron took all of the money from the doctor's show, which he was supposed to split with my mom, and went and bought guns with it. He did not inherit any guns from my father. My father had 2 guns left, and he was living in a tour bus. And the only person that got anything from my father was me. I got his toaster and his banana hammock that hangs his bananas on, because his estranged wife got everything because they were still married. We didn't even get his body. So Aaron's full of shit. So that's number 1. Number 2, my dad was not in the military for 25 years. He was in there for a year. He was kicked out because he was selling drugs, period. You really want to know the fucking truth? There you go.
Well, you know.
So that's number 1. Or number 1 and 2. Man, it's like there's so much. Like,
it's okay. Yeah, listen.
I went to I go to therapy, and like the first appointment, she's like, "So, what brings you here?" I'm like, "Where the hell do I start?
Are
like,
you ready? Yeah.
Where do you want to fucking start?" And she's like, "Well." After the session, she's like, "Well, we were only going to see you once a month for 30 minutes. I'd like to see you for an hour every week."
Every day. No.
Twice a week, you know.
Listen, BJ, I turned off commenting. This way nothing can distract you from what you're doing. Well, I want you to do me a favor first. BJ, before you say another word, I want you to understand that you're an amazingly beautiful woman who has endured every possible kind of negativity known. And nothing else can be done to you that hasn't already been done.
Oh,
you know what I
I'm
mean?
not scared of them. I have no skeletons. You know what I mean?
Good.
I'm not a perfect person. I've had my demons, and I've battled with my things, but I don't need to go and get paid to go get help. I know I know the difference between right and wrong.
Amen.
And him and my mother are willing to sell their souls to the devil to get a couple dollars, and those two are two of a kind. So, and that's why they butted heads, you know.
Well, Aaron has spoken so openly and so crazily about his brother Nick, and Nick sold his soul to the devil. And Nick, now this is the same Nick that I see.
He steals my lines too, by the way. I used to write. He used to call me up and say, "Can I write an Instagram something clever for him?" So anything clever was always me.
Okay, well, we're speaking about non-cleverness. He speaks
I know.
about
No,
Nick.
That's a really harsh accusation, you know.
Well,
especially coming from someone like him. Got a lot of nerve saying shit like that.
You know, especially when Nick is on live on Twitter reading Christian stories to his beautiful little ones. You know what I mean? It's like,
well, he didn't bank. Him and my mother both didn't bank on me catching wind of what they were doing, because they've tried to keep me isolated and discredited, and my self-esteem. Like, I always thought I was standing side by side with my mother, but in fact, she was standing on top of me. You know. And Aaron always to my face was like, "Oh, I love my big sister." And then I'd see, like, you know, that show on the doctors, and he's like, "I was the one who had to deal with my mom through all her shit. I live next door to my mother. You really want to know who's been dealing with her? Me." He says, "I dealt with all the late night shit. First of all, she didn't drink at night. She drank in the morning." So,
and you know what?
It's just pretty, list goes on, you know.
It's pretty crazy, because I've actually had the chance to speak to Jane, and Jane has seen what Aaron's doing, and it's almost like she's completely distanced herself from him now, because she sees what he's doing and what he's about.
She's always a victim too. She's full of it. Don't let her fool you. Please don't. She's always a victim. She has taught him. Those two are always the victim, you know. And for somebody like Aaron to jump on that Me Too movement when he's got that skeleton lingering in his closet that I know about, he's got a lot of fucking nerve, let me tell you.
Well, it's time to take that skeleton out. Take me to the night that you and I spoke about, when Leslie was, your sister Leslie, who's now deceased, rest in peace, God bless her soul. Take me to the night Leslie was laying in the room with you for hours on end.
I mean, Leslie always had some behavioral issues, and she was kind of labeled like she was bipolar before anybody knew what bipolar was, you know, because she was constantly being labeled as the bad kid in the family. And I think that kind of made her a target for Aaron, even at a very young age. You know, however it happened, I don't know, but, you know, oh God.
Want me to guide you? Want me to guide you? It's okay.
No, you know, I just don't, I don't know. I just,
you let it out of your heart.
I feel like it's just adding more fuel to the fire. Like, I just don't know. It's like,
well,
I mean,
let's put it this way, hon.
The truth of it is, it didn't happen the way that he said it did. Okay.
Aaron states that his sister
there was blackmail involved with it because Aaron knew that he was the money maker and the golden child, and Leslie was the bad one, and nobody would believe her, and he wouldn't leave her alone, and she was tormented by it.